Okay, here we go. This is Garrett. I want to go over another amazing scripture in the first chapter of John. I'm going to be using the numeric New Testament Bible once again because God deserves me to do that, because I love you and I want to honor you by using the best Bible that I know of for the New Testament. Here we go. This is another amazing scripture. In this scripture, the Apostle John is talking about Jesus. Now, we have another video about verse 1 and verse 2. I would highly recommend you watch that one first. Watch the first video on John 1:1 and 1:2, because now we're going to pick it up in verse 3. So you would want to watch the first video on verse 1 and verse 2 first. Now we're going to go over verse 3, 4, and 5 because this gives some really good information. This is really good. Check this out. Let's go ahead and read what John says in the numeric New Testament Bible. This is John 1:3. He's talking about Jesus. John says, all things became through him, and without him, nothing became that had become. Verse 4, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. Verse 5, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness apprehended it not. Okay, let's read it again a little bit differently now. Let's go to verse 3. John saying, everything in creation exists because Jesus created it. And without Jesus, nothing in all of creation would exist. You see, people, the Son is the creator. Muslims can't understand that. Jewish people won't understand that. And I would say about 70% of Christianity won't believe that. The Son is the creator. God tells us right here, speaking through John, all things in creation were created through Jesus, and without Jesus, nothing in existence would exist. Let's go to verse 4. In Jesus was life. In Jesus, he is deity. He has the power to create. He can make insects. He can create birds. He can create spirits. Some of them we call angels. Some of them we call demons. He can create fish. He can create human beings. In Jesus, who is deity, he has the power to create life. And Jesus, who holds all of our life together, who created all of our life, is the light of all mankind. Jesus is the dad of humanity. Jesus created us. Jesus is keeping us alive with his grace. We exist because of God's Son. Jesus is our light. Verse 5. And Jesus encompasses all of creation. He's everywhere, all at the same time, including where there's darkness. and his presence is everywhere, overpowering the darkness. But the darkness is not getting grace to understand God's Son. The darkness is not getting grace to change. The darkness is not giving grace to humble themselves before Jesus' throne and to accept him as the Lord. Now let's read it again a little bit differently. Okay. John says in verse 3, this is John speaking now. Children of God, I want you to understand that everything that there is in the universe, in heaven, in earth, in hell, in the spirit realm, God created everything through his Son Jesus. And that without Jesus, there would be nothing anywhere. There would be absolutely nothing without Jesus. Then in verse 4, John would say, all life exists because of God's Son, including the insects or the birds or human beings or the dinosaurs or the fish or the mammals, etc., etc. And this also includes the spirits. Children of God, wherever there is life in creation, it's because of Jesus's ability to create it, and Jesus is with it and in it. And children of God, because of this, Jesus is the light of all of creation. Jesus is the reason of existence of all creation. And then when we go to verse 5, John might be saying, children of God, but I also want to warn you that darkness is real, that evil is real, and evil does exist in the spirit realm, and evil does exist with mankind. But even though evil exists, God's Son is shining everywhere. Everywhere in creation, God's Son is shining his brilliant love and light. But the problem is, the darkness can't understand God's grace. The darkness cannot accept the love of Jesus. The darkness cannot accept the lordship of Jesus. The darkness will not humble itself before the throne of God's Son, and the darkness is not going to get grace from God. Okay, this is John 1, 3, 4, and 5. These are beautiful scriptures that God said, speaking through the Apostle John. Just beautiful. And I pray this video will continue to bless you more and more with more knowledge, more grace, more education, more truth, and that God will be using it to change your theology.